Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have back with us Taliya Bashani, who's a real estate attorney, negotiation expert, and founder of the TAB Law Firm. And we'll be talking today about pre-market prep for listings to prepare a property for successful market launch. Taliya, welcome back to the program.
Good morning, Mike. Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I've been really fun talking with you about your process of working with realtors to help them scale their business. And we've talked through your blueprint for success on listings. And now we're to the point of, okay, we've got to get the property ready to be, spectacularly standing out from the others. So where do we start with preparing that property for the market?
Yeah, so I always like to tell the agents that I work with to really get the early pre-market buzz going. This builds up a lot of excitement, anticipation. They can, display different things on social media. They can do, Instagram live tours from the property. They can have early broker open houses or wine and cheese parties or whatever it may be. So I like that early initial buzz before it hits the market, because there could be buyers agents out there and even buyers that maybe have their eye on it, that want to be first in line to see the property once it hits the market and goes live. And that could generate a lot of interest and possibly a bidding war, like you never know. So it could be that perfect property that somebody's been looking for, and generating that early pre-market buzz while they're still preparing the property to go live on the market is a really helpful tool.
So the coming soon and the pre-market buzz, that kind of brings up, hey, it's not on the market yet, but here's what's coming. So it kind of, allows people, whether it's a potential buyer or other brokers, to know, hey, this fits what we're looking for. I'm going to just watch intently. Depending on the size of the house, are there some advanced ways that you can complete this pre-market buzz, such as, taking a waiting list for private showings before it even goes live? But what have you seen that way?
Yeah, so definitely. So, the more that the agent can kind of market and advertise the property, there's different things that they can use. I personally really like the wine and cheese parties, or if there's a pool and it's a beautiful day, like kind of like an outdoor, pool party, so to speak, anything that's really going to highlight the features of the property. And then at that point, you can give tours, you can give private tours. And many agents say, oh, I have a client this would be perfect for, I'd love to bring them. I'd love to schedule an appointment once this goes live. So yes, that kind of initial introduction and the pre-market buzz and those events are always great. And then before you even get there, like I said, you can do video tours or live tours of you just walking through the property and say, hey guys, I'm super excited. I'm preparing this property for listing. It's going to go live in 2 weeks. You guys are really going to love it. There's so many great features with this, and just kind of, again, interacting with the market and just the general buyers that agent has, I think also goes a long way. In addition to making it possibly a featured listing on their website or on their page, so it's first and at the forefront. I think also will help highlight the property, and also mentioning it maybe at the agent's sales meetings, and letting the other, their colleagues know and their teammates know and everybody else in the agency, hey, I have this great listing coming. If you know any buyers, let me know. I'll make sure to get you guys in there early.
Really good points, Taliya. Makes me think of a question. What do you think about this? In a lot of marketing, it's so important to be personal. So when you're doing the videos or the email or like you're mentioning, the social media post, do you recommend creating a campaign specifically speaking to other brokers and another campaign specifically speaking to a potential buyer? So for instance, you could do one for brokers where it says, hey, your high-end buyers are going to love this property. And then the one for the potential buyers, you will feel right at home with these features. Do you think that would enhance the personalization?
Yes, absolutely. That's a great idea. I think they can always direct to their audience depending on the specifics of who their audience is. So they can do multiple campaigns, multiple, shout outs and, live tours. And I wouldn't necessarily do a wine and cheese party, for potential buyers, per se, but definitely they can have different marketing streams and avenues targeting their different audiences. So if they do have a whole list of buyers and, separate and aside from their agents, yes, they can definitely spin it. Because again, we're all about doubling the commission and maximizing your potential to close more sales and make more money. So absolutely, if you get a direct buyer, it's a sure shot. You're going to double your commission right there. Yeah. So absolutely want to focus on both groups.
And good point about spinning it. It brings me, makes me think of, perception of value is key, because spinning is a positive thing. It's just highlighting the positives. Perception of value is making sure that the first thing someone has in their mind about this property is the highest and most valuable features. So talk a little bit about things like curb appeal and highlighting the interior competitive advantage that would make that property stand out, so that both all the other brokers and potential buyers are going to quickly see what are the highlights of that property.
Sure. So it's similar like if you have a blockbuster featured movie, right? And then you do a little sizzle reel or a trailer, for that movie to make sure that you're drawing in a lot of excitement and a lot of, buzz and attraction from your audience. So it's the same thing when doing it with a listing and with the property. You're going to take the absolute highlights, the best features of that property, and create, a little sizzle reel or a little trailer, so to speak, where you can really say, hey, check out this amazing listing that I have. It's coming to the market in a couple of weeks. Look at these beautiful high ceilings in this pool or this yard, or if it's a condo, this outdoor space and the views, $1 million view you have here, like really just having little snippets of all of the keyed featured items for that property to make people want to see more. And say, oh my gosh, that looks amazing. I can't wait to see this in person. Or let me reach out to her and see when I can get my client in. Or, oh, this would be perfect for my family. I'm definitely interested in seeing this. So by doing that, getting that attraction and that perception of value, it really does, draw the audience in to want to see more, just like the trailer for the blockbuster movie.
Yes. And just like we want to highlight those benefits, I know one part of a transaction is one of the disclosures that the seller has to sign that says there's no issues with, and then there's a whole checklist of, no problem with the sewer, the septic, the roof. But talk a little bit about what the seller can do to present, here's the things that I've done to upgrade recently, and here's the highlights of these, because people don't just buy a house for a price. They want to connect with that emotionally. So how can the realtor help the seller articulate that so that it really resonates with the potential buyers?
Yeah, so I always like to recommend that agents ask the seller for a letter and have them write everything that they love about their property, including any renovations or upgrades or, even their happiest moments and how long they've lived there and what they've enjoyed best. Oh, I've, loved sitting in the sunroom and, reading my book or practicing yoga, or this has been my little sanctuary, or, just little personal touches that allows a potential buyer to relate to the property more, also is very attractive and appealing. So not only do you have maybe a list of, the features or the upgrades, or, oh, we converted, this half bath into a full bath, so now you have an extra full bath, or, oh, we, turn this room into a walk-in closet, or whatever it may be. So not only do you have all of the upgrades and the extra finishes that the seller put into the property, but you also kind of have their their own personal, history that they have to the property, and what's really made it, great for them. Maybe half of their garage they turned into a fitness center, and oh, I lost 20 pounds, just working out at my home gym. It's been the best thing I could have ever done for myself. Taking those breaks from work, working remotely and working out, whatever it may be. All of those could really appeal and help a buyer relate to that. Like, oh, that sounds really good. I've been really trying to get my fitness, game in check. So I could definitely see myself doing that. So those relatable type of, features and stories from the seller really goes a long way.
It reminds me of that show on HGTV several years ago I think it was called If Walls Could Talk. And it was just like the stories of the house. And yeah, they might have been sensational stories, bigger stories, but you can tell the story of each home because of the things you just mentioned. Hey, we love because our kids grew up in the backyard and we loved, and it just really brings that warmness to there. So stories really do sell. I think that is excellent.
They do. Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree.
So talk a little bit about when you're saying getting the word out with other real estate agents and doing the broker caravans and things like that. Talk a little bit more about that from the perspective of the law of abundance, because a lot of times, there's a lot of maybe resistance where people say, I just need to sell this and make my money. But in the other hand, it's like if we let more people know about this that are, yes, competitors of ours, but at least it brings buyers in. And from the law of abundance, there's plenty of business out there for everybody. And what I bring to other people will one day turn around and be something that they bring to me.
Yes, absolutely. So everything goes full circle. And I think the more that you give and the more that you offer, like you said, the more that you'll get back. So one thing that I've seen a lot here in New York is that a lot of agents, let's say, that take on a new listing for maybe a new development, a new condo project or things like that, what they do is instead of just offering wine and cheese, they offer something of value. So they say, hey, we're going to have a free headshots party. Okay, so you guys come to the property, you get a free headshot. We have a photographer lined up in one of the model units. In addition, we'll give you a tour, of the building and the amenities and the different units that are for sale. You get your headshot. So it's a win-win. So that really draws agents in more than just wine and cheese or a cocktail hour or whatever it may be, because now they're getting something of value. So they're more inclined to attend your event or come to your new listing because you're offering something to them. And then in turn, again, they are seeing a property that they may not have seen otherwise in person. It's one thing to see photos or listings come across the MLS or Street Easy or whatever you use. But when you're really there in person, you really have an appreciation for the property more so. And especially when you're selling a new condo development that has multiple unit layouts, at different kinds, from 1 bedrooms to 2 bedrooms to 3 threes, it really can appeal to a wider audience. So more people will come in, they get their free headshot, they meet the listing broker, they see the properties, they have clients in mind, and then it goes live, and then now they're lining up,
Yes.
to bring in their clients. So that's definitely helpful.
Yeah, really, really huge. So we've talked a little bit about amplifying the property through maybe telling the story of the actual property. Now talk a little bit about amplifying the visual appeal through maybe staging and photos and floor plans and drones and all the things that would bring that property to life, so that when the other agents and potential buyers see it, it's in the best light.
Yeah. So now with all the creative marketing that we have going on and all the video editing tools and things like that, you can really make a property pop and shine. One, obviously doing 4K videography really kind of gives that HD feel where it's like live and direct. And again, with all of these, different editing tools, it can pan from one scene to another scene. It can, you can have fire and lightning bolts and whatever you want, really just kind of to give it that allure to make it stand out. So one, I think that's really great. Two, It's always important to hire a professional photographer because, as we all know, angles are key. So the wide angle lenses really go a long way beyond just, a cell phone or a regular camera. So the HD wide angle lenses for the professional photographers really help kind of bring out or bring the property to life when you're taking those photos. And then finally, with the staging, it really kind of depends on the type of property that you're marketing. Is it a property that's currently vacant? Is it a property that, maybe the owners still live in? And what kind of tweaks can you do in order to showcase that property? So obviously for like the new construction or the vacant properties, staging goes a long way. Just, walking into an empty room prevents buyers from having that visual. So really staging and having a clean, simple finish would really help sell. And then similarly, if it's a property that the owners are still residing in, you can also kind of freshen it up a little bit by bringing in flowers or plants or throw pillows or rugs if there's nothing down. Or just patching up, maybe little eyesores or trying to kind of freshen it up a little bit. Obviously, opening up all the blinds, all the windows, all the umbrellas if it's a pool. So that really helps for showcase the properties and again brings the appeal and the perception of value out even more.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So now that we've gotten the story out there of why the property stands out and the visual with all of the photos and videos and things like that, now you roll into let's get the word out broad, the digital marketing. So let's talk a little bit about what digital marketing is available. And then I also think that it would be important to talk about, should the real estate agent learn how to do each and every one of those aspects themselves, or should that be something that they collaborate and have someone else help them with because maybe it's just not their strong suit?
Yeah, so I would say an agent, their skill really comes down to selling, and they're, really focused on the real estate at hand. They're not required to be also creative and, an advertiser and marketing and video editing and all of that. So I would say it's really important for an agent to locate their marketing team or videographer. There's tons of, just single contracting companies or independent, videographers that a lot of agents can reach out to that have experience with real estate. If you just follow other agents' pages and you can actually see the credits that they give to certain videographers. So that's one way. Also, a lot of the agencies, depending on who the broker is a part of, they have internal, marketing departments or internal on-staff videographers and photographers, or a specific list or preferred list. So I would definitely say utilize those resources, reach out to the professionals that might be a little bit more creative, that can, showcase it for you in the best way. Because again, the more, high end the display and the production is of that property, the more people you're going to attract that way. So different avenues include, TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. And like I said, I really love the live feature, which you can always save and pin to your profile even after you go live in case people, didn't catch it. But all of that really is just helpful. Or bringing your videographer to follow you, through a video tour, and you're just talking. So it's not just the videographer, and the property, but you're walking people through, just you as kind of like the presenter of the property. So that also, while you're, showcasing the different finishes and features, so that also can go a long way. So social media and digital marketing platforms are really huge because it's just live, in your face, direct, immediate, and you can get that instant gratification from it.
And do you also recommend, once all of the social media assets are built out with a campaign with, videos and the images and things like that, to incorporate the seller to help spread it through their social media channels too?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. absolutely. The seller, it's a fine line though, because sometimes in certain listing agreements, there might be a clause that the seller might negotiate stating, well, if I locate the buyer, then I don't owe you a commission because it's through my own efforts,
Okay.
So some listing agreements will have the clause that state, regardless of who locates the buyer, the commission's getting paid. And that's what the standard listing agreement holds. But I have seen some sellers who try to negotiate around that. So just be mindful what your particular listing agreement has with that seller, because if the seller procures a direct buyer, that is not through the efforts of the agent, then no commission would be due. So, the seller, I wouldn't rely on the seller so much. Definitely, I think, the agent and their team and the agency itself, can really promote it, maybe even on, the featured listing page of the agency, not just the broker, not just the agent, or other things like that. But maybe the agent is a part of a different organizations or PTA groups or, any type of groups really, that they can use it as multiple outlets in order to showcase their property. And look, a lot of people, I think the most important thing for a lot of realtors to do is communication is key. People don't know what you do unless you tell them, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of realtors that maybe just walk around and, don't really kind of vocalize or communicate that they're an agent, and that they would be happy to help you in your next purchase or sale. So the more that you really promote yourself, like we were talking earlier, will allow that agent to build more of a community and to get more clients through referrals or word of mouth.
Yeah, exactly. When you talk about social media, do you recommend buying paid ads on certain platforms to see if that helps expand out the reach?
That could definitely help, depending on the cost. That could definitely help. You can, there's what's called the Real Deal, which is a trade magazine for real estate. You can definitely buy ads in the Real Deal. Miami has something called Ocean Drive magazine, which people can buy ads, in that, depending on the circulation and the reach and the cost. Yes, ads, for the most part, though, ads pretty much have a shelf life. So with real estate, buying ads and then you might, and then what if you get an offer, next week, now you just spent all that money on the ad, so you kind of really have to determine. I would say don't visit the ads until it's absolutely necessary, maybe 60 days in or something like that, because really utilize your resources, in advance. Because it's not going to be an ongoing, perpetual type of thing.
Yeah, that's a good point about shelf life, because like social media ads, if you bought Facebook ads or Instagram ads, you could turn that off in a minute. So that might be better suited than maybe print ads. But then again, if you're going for specific target audience, that could be a fit. So as with anything, it just, you got to monitor it. You have to check the metrics and see what the return is. Obviously there's tools like social media we've talked about, email, of course, video. Do you recommend things like text messaging, where that would be a direct contact to some potential buyers?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I would say if, there is a link, you could send a link, to your listing, to your potential buyers. Or if you have WhatsApp groups, you could put everybody in a group and kind of share and spread the word that way. If you have a monthly newsletter, included in your newsletter, I get a lot of emails and blasts from agents with, their new listings or, all of their listings and they just blast it out. So absolutely. Email, newsletters, text messaging, print, digital media, all of those things really go a long way. And the agent should just utilize it, as much of those resources as they can, because again, the more you put out there, the more return you're going to get.
Excellent. Well, Taliya, it's been great hearing some of these tips and advice for preparing that property for a successful sale. What's a concluding thought or a final tip? And then what's the best way that someone can reach out and connect with you?
Thank you. So just wanted to wrap up and say that, considering that the whole goal at the end of the day is to really maximize broker commissions, Hopefully these set of tools and marketing resources really resonate with a lot of agents and can help turn, their sales campaign into even more to really reap the benefit of that. And I'm always available for any agents to reach me directly at my 360 site, which is tali360.com, TALI360.com. And happy to connect with you guys and help you in your journey.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming on, Taliya. It's been a real pleasure talking with you again.
Thank you. You as well, Mike.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneurssradio.com.